You've been lied to since childhood. Breakfast isn't the most important meal of the day, it's the most damaging. That morning bowl of healthy food is spiking your insulin, storing fat, and aging you all before noon. If you're over 45 and can't seem to lose weight, this scam is one big reason why. Let's go back to where this scam began. I'm gonna break down the most popular healthy foods for breakfast that are not healthy, and then I'm going to give you some healthy breakfast options following what I call the 30-30 rule for breakfast. If you want more energy and fat loss, you want to stick around for that. But first, let's discuss real quick where the scam began. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day was coined by a doctor. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day was not coined by a health authority or a doctor. It was actually a marketing slogan created in the 1940s by companies like Kellogg's and General Mills to sell cereal. Yes, it was never about health. It was always about profit. The food industry taught us to wake up and flood our body with sugar in the form of whole grain cereals, oatmeal packets, toast, bagels, orange juice. And we were told all of this was healthy. But here's the truth. That breakfast spikes your blood sugar levels through the roof and then crashes it. What follows? Cravings, mood swings, brain fog, weight gain, irritability, causing, at the end of the day, metabolic decline. It's this blood sugar roller coaster. So let's break down the damage these popular breakfast foods do, and then we'll go over the best options. Cereal, toast, oatmeal, and bagels. These are all ultra-processed carbohydrates. Even whole grain versions of bread will spike glucose and insulin. Don't believe me? Well, check out Dr. William Davis, who endorsed my book, Metabolic Freedom, but he has his own book called Wheat Belly. In his book, he has research showing that 2 slices of whole wheat, heart-healthy, whole grain bread spikes your blood sugar levels as much as drinking a 12-ounce can of soda or an entire Snickers bar. They digest quickly, leaving you hungry again in an hour or two. And you might think, all right, but Ben, oatmeal's not that processed. Oatmeal's healthy for you. Well, oatmeal still turns into sugar in your body. It might not happen as quickly as orange juice or a candy bar, but it happens over time. And oatmeal is loaded with glyphosate. It has anti-nutrients like phytates that depletes minerals from your body. Sorry to give you the news because I love the taste of oatmeal, but it is not healthy. Then we have cream cheese bagels. This is very popular in the United States. Yeah, a little fat, good, but then mostly refined carbs and inflammatory oils, not good. Then we have orange juice, this concentrated liquid sugar. Just 1 cup will spike your blood sugar levels as much as a can of soda as well. Pancakes, waffles, muffins, you may as well have cake for breakfast. So what happens when you eat the standard American diet breakfast? Blood sugar spike, insulin surge, fat storage mode activated, energy crash, cravings mid-morning, brain fog, and irritability. It's not a fun way to live your life. You're teaching your body to be a sugar burner. That's not fun. And over time, these repeated spikes of blood sugar and insulin leads to the following: insulin resistance, which is the gateway to type 2 diabetes and cancer and heart disease; chronic inflammation; weight gain and weight loss resistance; and hormonal imbalance. This happens even faster, especially for those over 45 years old. This morning sugar bomb makes it nearly impossible to burn fat, because when you eat these foods, you're in fat storage state all day. You're burning sugar from food, not stored body fat. Which brings us to healthier options. What can you eat to have more energy, to burn fat, to balance your hormones and get rid of your symptoms? Well, you want to follow the 30-30 rule for breakfast. 30-30 rule is 30 grams of protein, at least 30 grams of protein, at least 30 grams of healthy fats for breakfast, and it should be low in carbohydrates. Why? When we think of the macronutrients, we already just bashed carbohydrates, right? We think of carbohydrates, protein, fat. These are the 3 main macronutrients, the 3 macronutrients. And we look at the insulin response, the blood insulin response from these 3 macronutrients. You can see from this graph here on the screen for those watching on YouTube, which I also have this graph in chapter 4 of Metabolic Freedom. It is carbohydrates that raise blood insulin levels way more than protein, which is moderate, and fat very low. So what happens when you eat mostly protein and fat, 30 grams of each at the minimum, and lower carb for breakfast, and I'll give you some examples of what that looks like in a minute, you blunt the glucose spike, you keep insulin low, trigger satiety hormones like cholecystokinin, leptin, peptide, YY. All you need to know is that it helps you stay full and satiated. It fuels your mitochondria, which helps you produce more energy and burn more fat. It gives you sustained energy, so you don't have to snack and graze and rely on sugar and food for energy. And it turns on your fat-burning pathways. This combination stabilizes blood sugar, fuels your brain, balances hormones, and helps you tap into stored belly fat. I would say that's a quadruple win. So now that you understand the 30-30 rule, let's apply this to 5 examples of healthy breakfast options that I want you to eat every morning to burn fat and feel like a rock star. Option number 1, steak and eggs with avocado. If it's grass-fed, grass-finished, even better. But you want to consume 6 ounces of your favorite cut of steak, which is 40 grams of protein, 2 pasture-raised eggs with the yolk, which is 12 grams of protein, 10 grams of fat, and half an avocado. Avocados are high in B vitamin, choline, healthy fats, keeps you full for hours, and it tastes pretty delicious. So steak, a couple eggs on top, half an avocado, amazing option for breakfast. Option number 2, salmon and veggie scrambled, cook in ghee. This is 4 ounces of wild-caught salmon, which is 25 grams of protein, healthy omega fats, healthy omega-3 fats. 3 pasture-raised eggs, which is 18 grams of protein, 15 grams of fat, cooked in 1 tablespoon of ghee. Ghee is clarified butter. It supports brain health, lowers inflammation, lowers insulin, and it tastes pretty damn good. Option 3 is a keto smoothie, a fatty smoothie that helps support cell membrane, mitochondrial function, and fat loss. You want a high quality protein powder. Not all protein powders are created equal. So I'm not a big fan of whey protein unless it's a good sourced whey protein after a workout, but not for breakfast. I like beef protein isolate that's grass fed, and I use Equip Foods. So you could get theirs over at equipfoods.com/Azadi for 20% off. So a couple scoops of protein, about 20 to 30 grams of protein, 1 tablespoon of like macadamia nut butter, tablespoon of chia seeds if you want that, and a tablespoon of MCT oil blended with coconut milk. It tastes great. It's quick and easy to make, and it fits that 30-30 rule. Higher in protein, higher in fat, lower in carbohydrates. 4th option for you for breakfast are, it might sound weird, but sardines, walnuts, and a arugula plate. You want to get 1 can of wild sardines and olive oil, which is about 25 grams of protein, high healthy fats like omega-3 fats. You want to have 1/4, so a quarter of a cup of walnuts, organic and raw, and then arugula and olive oil and lemon. This is anti-inflammatory, brain boosting, and it's rich in minerals, rich in calcium, great for the brain, great for inflammation. Option number 5, lamb sausage and eggs with goat cheese. 2 lamb sausages, which is 30 grams of protein, 2 eggs, which is 12 grams of protein, 10 grams of healthy fats, topped with 1 ounce of goat cheese, which is 8 grams of fat. This is nutrient dense, satiating, tastes pretty damn amazing. So those are 5 options for you to rotate. They hit that 30-30 rule, ditch the inflammatory carbs, eat those healthy fats and protein options. You're going to feel great and look great. Now, there's some questions you submitted on this topic, which I'm going to get to right now. Before I do, I want to encourage you to get my book, Metabolic Freedom. There's about 50 fat-burning recipes in here, a 30-day plan to lose 20 pounds in 30 days, and so much more. The book's available worldwide, hardcover, Kindle, Audible, and Spotify. I narrated it myself, and we're giving you an entire course on the metabolism for free when you get the book over at metabolicfreedombook.com or scan the QR code on the screen, and I'll drop that link in the notes of this podcast. I'm also doing a speaker tour on the book, worldwide tour. I'm going to Orlando. I'm going to Phoenix, Arizona, Pensacola, Florida, Tampa, Florida, Saudi Arabia, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and other places to talk about the book. We're doing book signing, keynote lectures, meet and greets. Head over to benazadi.com/events to learn more about my upcoming speaking tour, and I'd love to meet you in person. Now, let's get to your questions. What if I'm not hungry in the morning and I choose to intermittent fast instead? Should I still follow the 30-30 rule or skip breakfast? You could skip breakfast and fast. There's a lot of benefits to fasting. And then you would have the breakfast option for lunch, because think about it this way. Breakfast means you're breaking your fast. That could be at 7 a.m. That could be at 1 p.m. So you would have the breakfast options for lunch, which would be breakfast, but breakfast for lunch, if that makes sense. How soon after waking up should I eat the 30-30 breakfast for best results? Within 30 minutes. That's what I would recommend. Can I still drink coffee before eating, or should I wait until after my meal? I'm a big fan of coffee, especially high CGA coffee. Great for fat loss, great for inflammation. The best way is to have your coffee after your breakfast, because you don't want to have coffee too soon when cortisol is high. Not great, but when you eat, it'll buffer cortisol. When you wait a little bit, cortisol will drop a bit. So I would have your cup of coffee after your breakfast. Will eating this much fat cause high cholesterol or heart disease? This is a complete myth. You're eating quality fats with the suggestions I made today. We've been brainwashed to believe eating fat and cholesterol, saturated fat is bad for you. These are the two most important fats for extending your lifespan, burning fat, lowering inflammation, and feeling damn good. There's a term I call in metabolic freedom, lipophobia, which is the fear of dietary fat based off of 50 plus years of propaganda and misinformation. Fat helps you burn fat. Fat heals your body. Your cells are made up of fat. Your brain is mostly fat. So do not fear the fat. What if I work out in the morning? Should I eat before or after? This is a loaded question because it depends on if you're a man versus a female, how much stress you have in your life. I'll give you a general answer. I'm a big fan of a fasted workout, meaning exercising on an empty stomach before breakfast if you're looking for fat loss as your number one goal. Because when you go into a workout, whether it's lifting weight, playing basketball, swimming, whatever it is, when you go into that workout without food, meaning you're still fasted, your stomach is empty, you're putting your body fat, your belly fat at the front of this metabolic bus for your metabolism to use for energy first. Versus if you had a meal, even a healthy meal, you're putting those calories from the meal now at the front of the metabolic bus to be burned for energy first. Your metabolism burns those calories, then it goes back to the body fat. So if you're looking for fat loss as your number one goal here, exercise on an empty stomach, then have the breakfast right after. Is fruit okay to include at breakfast if I'm pairing it with fat and protein? It's not ideal. It's not ideal, but if you choose to have fruit, go with low glycemic fruit like organic blueberries, maybe a little bit of pomegranate. And I mentioned avocado earlier, which technically is a fruit, but it's a higher fat, lower carb fruit. Can I have dairy like cheese and heavy cream in my breakfast, or will that cause inflammation too? I'm okay with heavy cream. Cheese, pasteurized cow cheese, I would switch for sheep and goat cheese. That's more better, more tolerated by most people. I don't know if you knew this, but 75% of adults cannot process pasteurized cow dairy. That's a worldwide study that showed that. But sheep and goat dairy, much better. Now, raw cow dairy, is fine, but it's hard to find raw dairy these days. So heavy cream, fine. But if you're going to go with dairy, sheep and goat is your best bet. Is it okay to eat more than 30 grams of protein and fat at breakfast, or will that backfire? I'm okay with you going higher with the protein. With the fat, you want to keep it around 30 grams because the more fat you have, the more your metabolism needs to burn before it burns body fat. So I would keep the fat around 30 grams, maybe 40 grams max. Your protein, you could have more depending on how big you are. So that is totally fine. And depending on how active you are, I'm okay with that. We used to think we could only metabolize 40 grams of protein at a meal maximum. That's not true. Studies are showing you could consume 100 grams of protein and metabolize that in a single meal. It's about having the enzymes to break it down. The old way of thinking was that you could only process a certain amount. That's not true. What if I'm trying to gain weight or muscle? Should I still avoid carbs in the morning? You're not avoiding all carbs completely. Some of the options I gave you, like the avocado, the arugula, some of the other options in the breakfast meals I gave you, include some carbs. You're avoiding high glycemic carbs. And yes, even if you want to gain weight, healthy weight, and muscle, the protocol I share with you works like a charm. Follow it. I'll put notes down below. I'll put any references down below. Share this episode with somebody you know. If you're listening on the podcast, leave it a rating and review. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And if you love this lesson and want to learn more about burning visceral fat, that's the fat around your organs, I have a 14-day plan that helps to reduce visceral fat, foods to eat, foods to avoid, simple things to follow. Here's a clip from that recent video. Then what I want you to do is click the video on the screen to watch that entire lesson, and I'll see you there. And I tried so many different approaches, and it wasn't until I followed this approach that I'm gonna share with you these 7 steps to burn visceral fat. That's what I achieved in a short amount of time, and I'm gonna lay it all out for you right now. The first step to burning visceral fat is to lower a hormone called insulin. When this hormone insulin is elevated,